Welcome to Recap King. In this video, we will explain Free Guy. This movie tells the story of a bank teller who discovers he's actually a background player in an open-world video game. Let's join his journey in the game world in Free Guy. Free Guy tells Guy's story, a non-player character or commonly called an NPC in Free City, a video game developed by Tsunami Games. The film begins by showing the appearance of the video game Free City, which is set like a modern city and filled with many characters. Players are free to create their own unique character. After that, players will get missions and must complete all missions to increase levels, where each level will provide different benefits for players. In addition to the characters created by the players, there are also supporting characters or non-player characters that were deliberately created by the game makers to make the game more exciting. One of the non-player characters is named Guy. Guy is designed as a non-player character who works as a teller in a bank, where the bank has been programmed to always be robbed by Free City game players so they can advance to the next level. Guy has a close friend named Buddy who works as a bank security guard. By accident, Guy met a beautiful woman named Molotov Girl while he and Buddy were walking down the sidewalk. Guy was immediately fascinated by the beauty of Molotov Girl, especially when she subconsciously hummed a song, which strangely sounded quite familiar to his ears. Guy then told Buddy that he wanted to meet her. Guy didn't care even if Buddy forbade it because they were ordered not to deal with people wearing glasses. In the real world, Molotov Girl is a character played by a woman named Millie Rusk, who turns out to have a secret goal in the game Free City. The next day, Guy went about his routine as usual, go to work, stop by a coffee shop to buy the same coffee and take cover when people wearing glasses try to rob the bank where he works. But when he was taking cover from robbers, he again saw Molotov Girl crossing the road. Because he was too curious about her, Guy got up and was determined to fight with a robber and steal his glasses. After wearing the glasses, Guy begins to see Free City through the player's point of view, which is more colorful and unique with various icons scattered throughout the city. Guy manages to find a heal box and treat his wounds. Not only that, he can also take money owned by other players, which will automatically move to his account. In the real world, Walter Keys McKee is one of the Free City game developers working at Tsunami. Keys and his co-worker, Mouser, were very surprised by the appearance of Guy's character. At first they believed that Guy was a skilled hacker disguised as a non-player character, but it turns out that Guy is a non-player character who has strayed from the program. Keys and Mouser then try to get Guy out of the game and enter Free City with their characters. However, Guy, who now wears glasses like a player, has superpowers and manages to escape from Keys and Mouser characters who are trying to snatch his glasses. Guy, who has now strayed from the program Keys had designed in the Free City system, begins to do whatever he wants without having to get stuck again with boring routines. Guy was finally able to find Molotov Girl, who was observing the situation at the stash, a secret location that was closely guarded because it stored all the backup data of the Free City game players. Molotov Girl, or Millie, is apparently trying to find evidence that the company owner that developed the Free City game, Antoine Havashalik, has stolen her source code and has illegally used it to run the very popular Free City game and provide huge profits for Antoine. Millie firmly believed that the evidence was stored in stash. Guy then offers to help Molotov Girl complete her mission. However, Millie refused because she thought Guy was a novice and advised him to level up first. To increase his level, Guy completes several missions through good deeds, namely exterminating hordes of criminals and helping residents in distress. Guy, who is a non-player character, but can move on his own and complete missions, becomes a sensation in cyberspace and becomes a topic of conversation worldwide. He also got a new name, namely Blue Shirt Guy. Millie and Keys turned out to be friends and had developed a game together. Millie said that Antoine had stolen the source code of the game they were developing, Life itself. Although he doesn't fully believe Millie's words about Antoine stealing the source code, Keys still helps her to find the evidence in the Free City game. With the help of Keys' backdoor, the Molotov Girl managed to sneak into the stash and find the evidence. However, when they were about to leave, the guards had noticed the Molotov Girl's actions and tried to stop her. As Molotov Girl struggles to dodge the guards' attacks, Guy comes to her aid. Guy and Molotov Girl can work well together in no time. Guy then tells Molotov Girl that now he has reached a higher level. Somehow Millie became flabbergasted after Guy saved her. Millie was confused when Guy wanted to kiss her, because this function was not available in the game. However, she felt comfortable when he kissed her. Keys later reveals to Millie that Guy is really a non-player character, whose self-awareness stems from an artificial intelligence code containing Millie's personal preferences that Keys had included in Life itself, the original game they developed together. Keys finally realized that all this time, Antoine had illegally used his and Millie's source code to run all programs in the Free City game. Keys then agreed to help Millie retrieve their source code before Free City was removed from Tsunami's servers because Antoine was about to launch a new game, Free City 2. On the other hand, As Guy's popularity continues to increase worldwide, players start to complain that the Free City game is no longer interesting because Guy's characters can be easily defeated. Hearing this, Antwin ordered Keys and Mouser to get rid of Guy's character at all costs. Not only that, because he will soon launch Free City 2 to reap more profits, Antwin doesn't want anyone to get in the way of his plans. Molotov Girl and Guy had a fairly close relationship in the game, but when Millie tells Guy the truth about her being a support character, Guy becomes frustrated with the reality and breaks their relationship. Millie didn't stay still. She tries to tell Guy about Antwin's plans to launch Free City 2 and destroy all programs in the current Free City, including Guy and all the other non-player characters. Millie said that they had to find something to save Guy and all the NPCs, but Guy was already frustrated and left Millie. Guy, who is contemplating himself in the world he lives in, finally discusses his problems with Buddy. Apparently, the artificial intelligence that was accidentally programmed into Guy's character was able to make other NPC characters develop self-awareness if Guy interacted with them, as happened to Buddy. Subconsciously, Buddy gives advice to Guy, who finally realizes that there is something more valuable than reality and the world they live in right now. Guy and Buddy decide to help Millie get the source code, which is still safely stored on the stash. Thanks to Buddy's connection with the security guards at Stash, they manage to sneak in to steal the source code evidence. Because of Guy's popularity in the real world, the player character who was supposed to be in charge of guarding the storage location instead gave the source code evidence to Guy just like that, because it turned out that he was a big fan of Guy in the real world. Guy immediately returned to Millie and handed over the proof of the source code. After checking the data, Millie was finally sure that Antwin had stolen her and Key's source code. The data shows an island located across the ocean, where the island is actually the source code for life itself, Keys and Millie's original game that Antwin had hidden. Millie then tells Guy that he and all the other NPC characters must escape to the island to not be erased by Tsunami's system. However, before Millie had time to explain further, suddenly an error occurred in the Free City game. It turned out that, on the other hand, Antwin, who was increasingly annoyed that Guy's continued popularity could threaten the launch of the Free City 2 game, then ordered Mouser to reboot the Free City game, which also erased Guy's memory. After Free City reoperated, Guy's character returned to being a non-player character he should be, which is to carry out his routine as usual and not deviate from the program. But Millie didn't let it go and tried to get Guy to remember everything again. Millie regained consciousness by kissing him. Guy finally remembers the island's location, which is the only part of life itself, as well as proof that it is the source code of Millie and Keys. After that, Guy and Molotov Girl gather all the non-player characters and explain the truth and the precarious situation they are currently facing. Guy said that across the ocean, there was an island they could live on. Not only that, he also said that they can do whatever they want without being programmed by anyone. All NPC characters agreed to strike so that the players could not carry out their mission. When Guy and Molotov Girl travel to the island, while Antwin orders Mouser to kill them in various ways, but their efforts continue to be overturned by Keys, who secretly also broadcasts Guy and Molotov Girl's actions to the whole world. Keys was caught by security officers ordered by Antwin, but he still had time to provide last aid, namely a bridge so he could cross the ocean and arrive at the island. Because he had betrayed the company, Keys was finally fired, but Keys doesn't care because now Antwin's situation is on the brink. Keys said that the whole world is currently watching Guy's rescue, as well as proving that Antwin had stolen his and Millie's life itself source code when Guy made it to the island. Antwin panicked even more and ordered Mouser to disable all players who were playing in the Free City game. Antwin then instructs his programmers to activate the character Dude, which is a copy of Guy, but is more muscular and not yet fully developed. As the character is prepped for Free City 2, Dude can easily beat Guy because he is much stronger and muscular. Not long after, Buddy came over and handed over a player's glasses that Guy had given him. After wearing the glasses, Guy can reverse the situation and fend off Dude's attacks with the help of Captain America's shield feature and Hulk's punch, but Dude turned out to be quite tough and still hard to beat. Finally, Guy chose to pin the glasses on Dude and distract the big man with a unique and colorful player point of view. After Dude left, Guy and Buddy immediately rushed to the island by crossing the bridge. Seeing his tough character defeated, Antwin intends to destroy the city by destroying the Free City game server. Slowly but surely, the Free City game began to be erased. Buddy and Guy were separated in the middle of the bridge. Before being erased, Buddy asked his friend to continue his journey so that Guy could arrive on the island and save all the NPC characters. On the other hand, when Antwin is about to destroy the last server, Millie appears before him and offers a deal to drop his lawsuit against both Antwin and Tsunami, provided that Antwin is willing to hand over Free City's intellectual property, namely the original source code of life itself, to herself and Keys. After considering the benefits of the game, Antoine accepted the offer and Millie, along with Guy, managed to arrive on the island and all the NPC characters in the game were rescued. After all that chaos, Tsunami went bankrupt because Free City 2 would have been a huge failure at launch without Millie and Key's source code. Meanwhile, Antoine, who is now the butt of media worldwide, was arrested on suspicion of theft and criminal vandalism. Shortly after that, Keys, Mouser, and Millie released Free Life using the recovered source code, including the return of Guy and the other Free City non-player characters. Millie returns to the game as Molotov Girl to thank Guy for everything he does. Guy then reveals to Millie that he realized that his real self was code devised by someone. Guy said that someone created a unique code implanted in him, a code where he was only interested in Millie because the creator did have a crush on Millie in the real world. After hearing Guy's explanation, Millie finally realized that Guy was the code created by Keys, the only person who helped her develop the game life itself. Millie then left the game and went to Keys. They then share an intimate kiss in a romantic atmosphere. The film ends by showing Guy reuniting with Dude and Buddy and all the NPC characters from the Free City game. They start living their own lives and doing all things they want, without being programmed by anyone.